Imagine this. You're 20 years old. You've just gotten your first real job. The salary isn't huge, but it's yours. And for the first time in your life, you have money sitting in your account that nobody told you to save. And then you see it. That car. The one you've had as your phone wallpaper since class 11. The one you used to watch YouTube videos about at midnight. The one your neighbor uncle drives and you always thought, someday, that'll be me. And now, someday is today. So you do it. You walk into the showroom. You smell that new car smell. The salesman is smiling. Your parents are a little nervous, but they say, okay. You sign the papers. You drive it home. And for about 3 weeks, life is perfect. But here's where the story gets interesting, because 5 years later, at 25, something has shifted. The car is still there, but the feeling? Gone. And now you're sitting with an EMI that eats 30% of your salary, an insurance bill that arrives like clockwork, a maintenance cost that seems to go up every year, and a loan that still has 2 more years on it. Meanwhile, your friend, the one who bought a second-hand Maruti and invested the difference, just put a down payment on a flat. And you're thinking, when did I fall behind? This video is about that exact moment. That gap between the version of us that buys the dream car and the version of us that has to live with what comes after. And more importantly, it's about a mental trap that almost every young person in India falls into without even realizing it. Let's start with why this happens. When we're young and we get our first income, our brain does something very specific. It doesn't think in terms of net worth. It thinks in terms of monthly payment. The car costs 12 lakh rupees? That sounds terrifying. But the EMI is only $18,000 a month? That sounds manageable. This is called payment psychology. And car salesmen, banks, and finance companies have known about it for decades. They don't sell you a 12 lakh rupee car. They sell you an 18,000 rupee per month lifestyle upgrade because our brains are wired to process small numbers more comfortably than large ones. And when you're 20 and earning $45,000 a month, 18,000 rupees feels like a reasonable chunk. You can handle it. You'll adjust your lifestyle a little. No big deal. What your brain doesn't calculate in that showroom, in that moment, is the total cost of that decision. Let's do the actual math, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. The EMI is 18,000 rupees, but that's just the start. Add insurance, roughly 15 to 20,000 rupees a year for a new car. That's about 1,500 rupees a month. Add fuel. If you're driving regularly, that's another 5,000 to 7,000 rupees a month easily. Add servicing, tires, minor repairs, average it out, and you're looking at another 3,000 to 4,000 rupees a month. Add parking charges if you're in a metro city, another 1,000 to 2,000 rupees. Suddenly, that 18,000 rupee EMI is actually a 30,000 rupee per month commitment every single month for 5 years. On a $45,000 salary, you've just handed over 65% of your income to a depreciating asset. And here's the word that changes everything: depreciating. Unlike a house, unlike stocks, unlike a business, a car loses value the moment you drive it out of the showroom. Not slowly, fast. A car that cost 12 lakh rupees new is worth roughly 8 to 9 lakh rupees after just 2 years. By year 5, you might get 5 to 6 lakh rupees for it if the market is good and the car is in decent shape. So you spent 5 years paying EMIs totaling over 10 lakh rupees, plus another 8 to 10 lakh rupees in running costs, and what you're holding at the end is an asset worth less than half of what you originally paid. You didn't just spend money, you destroyed wealth. But here's the part nobody talks about. It's not just about the money you spent, it's about the money you didn't invest. This is what economists call opportunity cost, and it's the most expensive thing that doesn't show up on any bill. Let's say instead of that EMI, you had invested just 15,000 rupees a month in a decent index fund or mutual fund, starting at age 20. In 5 years, assuming a 12% annual return, that money grows to roughly 12 to 13 lakh rupees. Decent, but not shocking. But here's where it gets wild. If you leave that money invested and don't touch it, by the time you're 40, that same 15,000 rupee per month SIP that you ran for just 5 years in your 20s could be worth over 60 to 70 lakh rupees because of compounding. because money that's invested early has the most time to grow. The dream car didn't just cost you 12 lakh rupees, it potentially cost you the foundation of your entire financial future. Now, I want to be fair here because this isn't really about the car. The car is just the symbol. The car is the stand-in for every big lifestyle purchase we make because we feel like we deserve it after finally earning some money. And honestly, that feeling makes complete psychological sense. There's a concept called delayed gratification collapse. For years, school, college, internships, you've been told to wait. Wait for the job, wait for the money, wait for your time. And then the money arrives and your brain says, okay, the waiting is over. Now I can live. And that's not a character flaw. That's a very human response to years of suppressed desire. But the problem is this. The moment you upgrade your lifestyle to match your first salary, you've locked yourself into what's called a lifestyle trap. Every future raise, every bonus, every extra rupee gets absorbed by the higher cost of living you've already committed to. The EMI, the bigger apartment, the weekend trips because you finally feel like you can afford them. Your income grows, but your savings rate stays exactly the same, close to zero. Here's the thing the wealthy understand that most people don't. Being rich is not about what you spend, it's about the gap between what you earn and what you keep. Rich people, not the people who look rich on Instagram, but the ones actually building wealth, drive boring cars or old cars or second-hand cars, not because they can't afford better, but because they understand that every rupee that goes into a depreciating asset is a rupee that stopped working for them. They've internalized something called asset versus liability thinking. Simple idea. An asset puts money into your pocket over time. A liability takes money out of your pocket over time. A new car on EMI, pure liability. Every month it takes from you the EMI, the insurance, the fuel, and gives you nothing financial in return. This doesn't mean you should never enjoy life. It means the sequence matters enormously. First build assets, then let the assets pay for your liabilities. Buy the car after your investments can cover the EMI, not before. So what should a 20-year-old actually do? Here's the framework. 3 simple rules. Rule 1. Keep your lifestyle costs below 50% of your income in your first 3 years of earning. This is the window. The years between 20 and 25 are the most powerful years of your financial life, not because you earn the most, but because you have the most time for compounding to work. Protect this window aggressively. Rule 2. If you need a car, buy used. A 3 to 4-year-old car in good condition does everything a new car does for 40 to 50% of the price. The depreciation hit has already been taken by the first owner. You get the utility without the wealth destruction. Put the difference in a sip. Rule 3. Make your first 5 years about building the foundation, not showing the results. Wealth in the early stages is invisible. It sits in a mutual fund statement nobody sees. It doesn't turn heads at the traffic signal. And that's exactly why most people skip it, because it doesn't feel like anything in the moment. But at 30, 35, 40, when your friends are stressed about EMIs and you have a corpus quietly compounding in the background, you'll understand why the boring choices were actually the exciting ones. There's a version of you at 30 who looks back and smiles, not because you didn't enjoy your 20s, but because you were strategic about them. Because you understood that the car would always be available to buy. But the compounding years, those don't come back. The real dream isn't the car in the driveway. The real dream is the freedom to buy that car in cash at 32 because your investments have grown enough that it doesn't even hurt. That's the POV worth chasing. So the next time you're standing in a showroom feeling that pull, remember the version of you at 25, looking at your bank account, doing the math, wondering where it all went. That version of you is asking you right now to think a little longer before you sign. The car will wait. The compounding won't.